calm. You know, we can't leave this Aaron Hernandez story alone because, you know, a lot of us want to be rags to riches. We want to come out of, you know, our upbringing and make it. We want to make it for ourselves. We want to make it for our families. And people who have made it and they go awry, we feel like, listen, if I would have had that opportunity, I would never throw it away like that. And it's unfortunate. But let's talk about the fact that he committed suicide on the day of, you know, we know it's 2 weeks after being acquitted, a week after being acquitted, but on the day of the visit to the White House, the Patriots were going to the White House, and Aaron Hernandez is found at 3 a.m. hung in his jail cell. Now, there's theories. There's, you know, but what kills me about people, though, is these conspiracy theorists. Sometimes I'm like, hello. They try to say Steve didn't kill the old man. Did you hear?
No, I didn't hear that. But, you know, again, we were talking off the air. You never know who is around us. You never know the mental capacity and the states of people who are around us or who we're around.
Right.
I mean, that 74-year-old gentleman had no clue that this man was just going to walk. And to make it so bad, he said, I'm doing this to you because of some woman's name.
Right.
A woman he didn't know. Right. He didn't know her, didn't know him, but he lost his life for that. So, I mean, you just never know the mental state of what we're at. And we were talking about what was Aaron's mental state.
Right.
Because Ericka was just saying that, oddly enough, whether it's coincidence or not, it was the same day that the Patriots were going to the White House to meet with the president for their winning the Super Bowl.
Right. So we have that. We have that case. And then we have other people who are saying that they don't believe he would have killed himself because of the fact that him being acquitted, although he was already found guilty in the Aiden Lloyd trial. Am I saying Aiden Lloyd, right?
Yeah, that's close.
Aiden Lloyd.
Yep.
Trial. And he was on appeal for that case, right? So this doesn't make sense, except for this new thing that I never heard about, that is called abatement ad initio. Abatement ad initio. And what that means is, in the eyes of the state of Massachusetts, it means that although Hernandez was convicted in 2015 of murdering Odin Lloyd of Boston, Hernandez's appeal was not complete. An abatement ab initio means from the beginning. So it stated that upon a person's death, if they have not exhausted their legal appeals, their case reverts to its status at the beginning. It's as if the trial and conviction never happened. So now, he could have done that purposely to save the money, the civil cases that are going to come up to save his daughter and his girlfriend from having to go broke. I mean, would have nothing. I don't think that's it. I'm marking that off on my checklist. I don't think that. I mean, I'm Xing that out. I don't think he thought that far ahead.
I don't think so either.
Because he was too self-absorbed, I think, to even concern. If you were that concerned about your daughter, you wouldn't have been out there killing somebody when you had a baby. So absolutely. I don't think, I'm not going with that theory.
No, I don't. I think
easy way out though.
Right.
Well, you know, and I tend to agree with that to a degree, and I'll tell you why. Only because I heard something the other day. Matter of fact, it was in church, that there's a difference between despair and because really the definition of despair is you've lost all hope in yourself and hope in God. Right. In other words, you don't even think, whatever your issue is, you don't even think God can handle that. There's no solution. Right. So I think what happened was Hernandez ultimately fell into despair.
Right.
Like you said, we were talking off the air about him having to look at the picture of Odin Lloyd every time he's in the courtroom, having to see his fiance, having to see his daughter, just kind of like, I'm going to be here for the rest of my days. I'm 27 years old and I have a life sentence. Right. So I think he fell into despair. So to your point, maybe taking the easy way out was it.
I think he portrayed himself, even the correction officers said that he never showed any emotion. He was very controlling. And those are characteristics of sociopaths who don't live in a realistic mindset. Right. Everything is a fantasy to them. But a reality check would be your team going to the White House. Yeah. That's a serious reality check. Yeah. So, you know, it may have hit him like a ton of bricks that particular day. Now, I believe the K2 story because the inmate said he smoked K2 that day, and we know that K2 has a tendency to cause homicidal and suicidal thoughts. Because again, I don't think he would have thought that seriously about saving his girlfriend and his daughter from more turmoil that he put them in, and I don't think that he still really had the capacity to care about anybody. So I think this is just a random, what goes around comes around. You end up dead because you smoked something, your mind started going crazy, and you killed yourself, and you ended up dead like your victims. I don't think he took that much thought into it. I think it was a random thing. That's just my opinion.
It's possible. I mean, have you ever, we were talking about this right before the 2 breaks ago, have you ever listened to the fast talk on some of the medications?
Yes.
More side effects.
There are more side effects than there are of what you're trying to cure. But
Right.
one of those side effects that a lot of times they mention is suicidal tendency.
Right.
Be careful when taking this because it can cause suicidal thoughts.
Right.
So now you're talking about K2
On top
or
of
whatever it is.
everything that
Right.
he's going through.
So that's possible.
Right. So I think, with this case, I don't know how we can, we'll never have the answers. We
No.
never do get the
We won't.
answers. We always say why. And men, I spoke to someone on the phone the other day when we were going back and forth with the whole la, and we didn't get to that yet. We're about to get to that. But, I said, why do men do this? Why? And he said, women always want the answer to why. And the answer never comes. Why are you worried about the why? And I said, well, men always excuse everything, so they don't want to deal with the why because then they have to rectify the issue. We're always looking for solutions to a problem, and men are always looking for acceptance to their behavior. So you just want to accept it. That's just the way it is. You know what I mean? That's what I feel like. We're trying to find the solution, the root of the problem, so that we could save somebody else from the situation. With them studying his brain for CTE, I think, again, when we continue to have a habit and it makes us feel good in whatever our bad choices are poison. Obviously, he liked guns.
Yeah, I think he liked anything with violence.
Yeah, that's what he thrived off of, and that's what made him feel good and make him feel like he
Back
was,
to you're talking about the man again.
Right.
But see, again, I think, and I always come from a frame of reference of dealing with children on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. We dealing with a lot of kids and adults, for that matter, who have a lot of anger pent up inside of them.
Right.
So let's say we trace this back to when his father passed away, and he's been angry ever since then.
Right.
And as a part of that anger, whatever's inside of him, it didn't matter if he was playing sports, it didn't matter if he was making money, that anger was still in there. And so because of that now, that's where being the man is killing somebody, beating somebody up, hitting somebody in the face, this, that, and the other.
And they're going to get in trouble.
Right.
But see, but the same thing is to the extreme on both levels. If he was so extraordinary as an athlete, so you have him 100%, he is like almost perfect, right? On the other hand, he's not going to be a little thug. He's going to be a great thug.
Right.
He's going to be a super thug. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's kind of like to the extreme on both ends.
Both ends.
Anything he does is to the extreme. Good or bad. Both ways.
Again, I just think it was a sad case.
It's definitely sad.
It was a sad
So
case.
let's move on to some more sad news. We have heard that Carmelo Anthony is another carnage in this war against cheating in relationships, and he supposedly got a woman who they're claiming to be a stripper, pregnant, 6 months pregnant. Her friend came out and said, no, she's not a stripper. She's a college student. She goes to Northwestern. And she is pregnant with a girl. I think the difference is, because everybody's like, stripper. We assume that a stripper is going to sleep with a lot of guys.
That's not true.
That's what we assume. But that's
We
not
assume,
necessarily
no, I'm
true.
just saying the image. All of this is image. All of this is image. Because we think that a college girl, she's not going to do everything. She's in college.
Church girl?
Yes, church girl. She's, you know, so that is our perception. Okay, so that everyone, and then there's the old, well, I could see the cheating, but why aren't you using protection? There's levels to this. You know what I mean? Like, he's supposed to cheat, he's just not supposed to cheat without a condom, and he's supposed to not get a girl pregnant.
Well, you know, again, it's like just like we were talking with the Hernandez case just now. You always have to. You were talking about women want to get to the root. You always have to get to the root of, okay, what was going on that would cause somebody to step out. Right, exactly. Is there something else going on, or is it because this is another fallacy or a myth? The question would be, if someone is fine and looks good, why on earth? Because I mean, we associate looks with sex,
right,
or looks with stickability,
personality,
with being able to stay with somebody. Like, somebody that fine, ain't no way I walk up. But you don't know the personality, and you don't know the person exactly. And so at that point, you just kind of, but then you got to work it out another way, because the cheating is not the way. One thing I laughed, because one of my favorite shows was Everybody Loved Raymond, and there was an episode in there where the father tells Raymond, "You don't solve the problems of a woman with another woman."
Right.
You don't solve problems that are going on with a woman with another woman. So you got to get to the root of what are the issues that's causing somebody to say, you know what, I'm tired of dealing with you, I want to deal with somebody else. Or it could be wherein this other woman now is making me feel like you no longer are making me feel.
Yes.
In other words, she's doing things with me or saying things or making me feel, you used to do it, but you're not doing it anymore.
And we have to give credit to that. We have to accept that, acknowledge that. But I also spoke to my friend about this, and he said, a woman can be doing any and everything properly. She can be swinging from the chandelier, and a man will still feel the urge to go and deal with someone new.
Yes, you know.
So that means at times there's nothing that you can do.
Right. It could be. You're right. You're right. It could be. And I don't know if folks get bored. I don't, because again, you look at somebody like, and I don't know, because you look at somebody like I'm just going to say Sandra Bullock, for example. Mm-hmm. Sandra Bullock, good looking woman, but her husband was like out there.
Right.
So clearly, Sandra Bullock's looks weren't enough to hold him. We have other cases like that. At one point there was rumors about Jay-Z. Who would cheat on Beyonce?
Right.
I mean, but so the looks in and of itself is not enough. And so I don't know if there's something that says, folks get bored, because you also have examples of people who have been married for like 60 and 70 years,
right,
who've never cheated.
Well, and that's a generational thing, though.
That could be too.
Because like nowadays, who is really staying married? Okay, someone gets married in 01 or something. Who's going to be married by 22 or you know what I mean? So it's a generational thing, a new decade.
The thing that I have a problem with, for one, if you look at the picture of the girl, she looks like Lala. That's the first thing. She looks like Lala.
They usually do.
Yeah,
I
don't get that part. A younger version. So I don't understand. If you are going to say you love someone though, and you know that you will lose everything that you have. It's different if you really don't want to be with the person anymore. I think you should just be single. That's the easy way, to handle the situation. But if you love this person and there are issues, though, and you don't address the issues, you go on to tell someone on the side what your issues are instead of dealing with the issues with your mate, but then you don't want to lose them. It just doesn't make sense to me. If you don't want to lose your family, but you're doing things that could eventually cause the destruction of your whole existence with this person. Because they're not even going to look at you the same way anymore. They're not going to feel the same way after you hurt them. So is it really worth it? And obviously, if we've seen in the the last episode of Love and Hip Hop, as soon as the husband gets caught, like the guy shooter, he gets caught, and then he says to the girl, Mariah, I don't know what you're talking about.
No, he said that. I don't ever with you like that.
Right. Exactly. So all of a sudden, you rocking with me on the side. We like they got this secret, and then all of a sudden you get caught, and now it's
That's why you don't
Key
be the side
thing
chick.
is,
That's why you don't want to be the side chick.
right?
Exactly.
I mean, you could tell that the girl had good feelings for him.
Yes.
At the end,
Yes.
towards the end of the argument, because she was like really pastly upset. If that's just your side guy or you just his side woman, I mean, I don't see how.
But
she
this
got
is
so
what
upset.
women are concerned about, because a man can say, "Oh, it was just sex. You've been having just sex with her for a year. You're telling me you don't have any feelings for her." Right. See, the men try to act the same way, like they don't have. So
that can be possible.
I guess I don't know.
I mean, like someone on the show said she's basically like prostituting herself with the guy.
Can you take this over for me? I have to.
Every time they did anything together, he gave him, go ahead, go get you some shoes or whatever. I mean, so it could be possible that the guy didn't develop feelings because he knew where his heart stood. He knew where his feelings relied with. He knew who he cherished. So, I mean, it doesn't give an excuse on why it's okay for that to happen. But at the same time, when it refers back to Lala and Carmelo Anthony, it's similar to Kurt and Rashida. As far as like him having a baby out of wedlock or having a baby by someone he's not married to.
Well, I tell you what. Once trust is broken, it's a wrap. And I don't care if you're famous. I don't care if you're not famous. Once trust is broken, it's very hard to get back. So if you want to play that game, just know that. Secondly, and I think the last time we were on the show, I think we gotten similar conversation like this. And I don't know, as an athlete or an actor or an actress, I don't know if I would try to get married if I was in that field. I don't know. I can't say, because it is extremely difficult in terms of just that environment of constantly being around people like that you're attracted to, and they're attracted to you, and the opportunities are always there.
I'm not saying
right. That's the lifestyle. I'm not saying it can't be done, because there are folks who are doing it. Russell Wilson is one. We talked about that off the air. Tim Tebow is another one. There are others. When Russell got serious with what's her name, he married her. Is it Sierra? Which one was it? I forget
Sierra.
That's when they got serious. They made a decision that they were going to be celibate, and everybody thought they were odd. Everybody thought they were weird. You had this young lady who was a celebrity. You had this gentleman who was a football player and famous, and they said, we are not going to have sex before marriage. Everybody thought they were weird, but they made that commitment and they kept it. So, I mean, I'm saying all that to say it's not that it can't be done, except for it is unusual.
Different strokes for different folks.
It really is. But when you step out there, like I said, I'm going to go back to what Raymond's father said on the show. You don't fix the problems with one woman with another woman. You just, it doesn't work. It never works. And there is a difference between love and sex. There really is. A lot of times, women in particular, because they're more emotionally based, many times they will confuse the two. And many times men, not to say that they're not emotionally based, because they can be, but for men, a lot of times it is easy for them to disassociate one from the other. Now, I had a young lady in my office the other day tell me she's never been in love before, but she had like 2 or 3 kids. And she said, I've never been in love before. So what was going through my mind was, well, then how did you create these kids? She did not associate love and sex together. She didn't. Right. So, I mean, there's a difference.
Yeah, I think that helps if you're going to be out there playing like that. I mean, not associating the two. I mean, some people get together and then they're like, okay, we're going to be together forever. 5 months later, they broke up. So you can't say just because the sex was good one night that you guys should be together for, a time in a day,
Did you hear anything? Now, my daughter was telling me this, and I hadn't heard it, but I don't know. Maybe you've heard it. But you said you don't keep up with that stuff, so you might not. Did you hear anything about Janet Jackson and her husband breaking up?
Yeah, they broke up?
I don't know. I'm asking you, because my daughter was telling me that the other night at dinner. And I had not heard it because I said she just had the baby. And so Ericka's come back. Did you hear anything about Janet Jackson and her husband breaking up?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes. So it is true. My daughter was telling me about it. And see, again, that didn't make sense to me because Janet just had the baby.
Right.
But she said they had a prenup that after X number of years, either she would get the money or he would get the money.
So who getting the money?
She gets $500 million.
She gets it, right.
She gets $500 million if she's been married to him for
For
5 years.
All right, see,
So
my
who
daughter
got
They
knew
broke
this.
up after 2 months. I believe she's filing because she's the one that left. But
She want
basically,
that money.
it's about.
But she already had money.
So,
Yeah, I don't. I mean, she's worth not $500 million though. I think it was somewhere in the $20 million. But the thing is, she wanted to have a baby.
Right.
I don't see her just wanting to have a baby and walk out. That doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make any sense. That's because when my daughter told me, I said, but she just had the baby.
The issue they're saying is because he's Muslim and he started to have her cover up more. You know, she's performing. She's Janet. You know, she's trendy. She wears what's.
But didn't she do that when she married?
He can't change her though.
That's the point.
He can't change her.
Right.
That's the point. The
She's
point
been
is
there
you
too
knew
long.
that he was like that.
When they got married.
But sometimes we can't really say that because sometimes he'll seem, you know, a person will seem like, oh, it's okay until you get married, and then they show who they really are.
Right.
But they were married for 5 years.
But that was a part of the agreement, though. They had to be
And
married 5 years.
maybe, you're right. Maybe she stuck it out.
Right.
Now that could be it.
That's it.
Maybe
I'm
her
wrong.
initial
I'm wrong.
motive
Right.
wasn't the money, but now I've been in here 3 years. I might as well stay 2
That's
more.
right.
What difference does it make now? I'm $500 million difference. I'll stay. I'll try to work it out. I mean, the thing is, oh, stop playing.
All right
because
now.
I left and I put it on mute. The thing is, you know, Janet, at this point, I think she has her baby, though. So, although she wanted the marriage and the baby, waiting all that time to have the baby, she's probably like, I'm good. I'm not concerned.
Well, I tell you what, I give Janet credit because I couldn't have done no baby at 50.
Well, you know, I mean, men have babies at 70.
They do, but I
75,
just
80.
at this point I'm ready to travel the world. I ain't looking to raise no child.
Yeah, a lot of people
So
say that.
I'll give it to Janet for having a child at 50, because I tell you, children ain't no joke in terms of raising them. I'm looking to travel the world right now. I ain't looking to raise no child.
Well, I mean,
She
you
done
know,
did all that.
That's true. She
What
has.
else did
she's
she have to do?
that's what I was gonna
But
say.
sit down.
It's
You're right, she has,
It's kind of
so-
like some people do it early and get it out the way, and then they have all their life ahead of them. And then
Right.
some people do everything first, and then they settle down when they're older and they can raise. Because if she would have, I mean, we know that she has a rumored daughter that she never raised.
Right.
You know what I mean? But at one point, you may not have been such a good parent as you are now as you're older, because now you're more mature and you have learned a few things.
Well, I tell you what, if for the most part she's done with, and actually she don't have to be, but if she's done with performing and she really wants to settle down, because again, with that kind of money, you have resources. So now, let me take that back. If I had that kind of money,
Right.
I'd probably have 10, 15 kids.
Right,
Because
right.
you can hire nannies.
Yes, and they can go
services and this,
everywhere
that, and the
you
other.
go.
Right, and-
I would have. I would
So
definitely have.
that's a little bit different. Let me retract
Yes,
that.
yes.
In my current situation, current finances, current situation, I don't want to raise no child, but millions of dollars, yeah, I'd like to have a few more. That would be a little bit different.
Because
I'd have people
that's
I'd
the
have people to help
concern.
me.
You don't have enough resources. You don't want to be struggling trying
Right.
to raise
Right.
kids.
Right.
And you don't
I
have
still
it.
don't think she's gonna be done with performing.
She probably
She's
won't
gonna
be.
do some more tours and things
But
like that.
she doesn't have to
Before
be. That's the
70.
point. She
That
doesn't,
she doesn't
have to be
right,
because
she has the resources.
your child. Look at Beyonce about to have
Right,
twins.
right.
She's gonna have those twins right in the back. They're gonna have a beautiful dressing room or whatever the
Right.
case. She's probably gonna bring in furniture, with them, a whole moving van, or they'll probably have a trailer that's
Right.
separate. Imagine
Right.
what these kids are
Because
gonna have.
again, see that goes back to where we started the conversation. I'm not saying money solves problems; it doesn't, but it does allow you to do a lot more with it than without it.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
the bottom line.
Definitely.
You can, and I understand a fool and his or her money; they will soon part. They will, but you can do a whole lot more with money if you're smart
Than without it. Yes, that's true. So, I mean, Okay, so how do we get to a point where we understand what is really important in life?
Well, I tell you what, when you stepped out the room, one of the things I was saying, we were talking about relationships.
Okay.
Once trust is broken, it's pretty much a wrap.
Right,
It's not to say that it can't be restored, but it's difficult.
Yes.
And all these instances, unless it's an instance where you know what, I'm going to hang in there for the money.
Right.
Once trust is broken, it is difficult. It really is.
Well, I think this. People say, okay, if someone, of course, it's the same story, cheating. We talk about trust, we talk about cheating. It's not always cheating that you can't trust. It's how you spending your money behind my back.
Oh, well,
that's trust too. You know what I mean? That's trust. Trust.
No, sex is just one component of it. Trust is trust regardless.
Right. Can I rely on you to take good care of my children when I'm not home? Are you going to do, you know what I mean? Like, there are a lot of things that go into trusting someone with your life, with your emotions, with your well-being. So when that is challenged, though, I think it's on the person that is not being trusted to bring that trust back. You can't, like, in other words, there's always the issue of looking at somebody's phone. And guys will say, what are you looking at somebody's phone? Or even girls will say, what are you looking at somebody's phone for? If I can't trust somebody, then I don't need to be with them. But to me, if I've done something to question someone's trust, I'll leave my phone there so that if they feel they want to see what's going on, they can make sure that they feel better when they looking in, there's nothing there. Now, I could be good enough to erase everything. I could be on point. You understand what I'm saying? But what I mean is that if I've lost your trust, I'm supposed to get it back. It's not on you to just say, because a lot of people will say, just trust me. I said I'm not going to do that again. Just trust me. You have to earn the trust.
Well, for me, I have absolutely no desire whatsoever to look on anybody's phone. I have no desire to go on anybody's purse, no desire to go on anybody's wallet. Even for people who has broken my trust, I just have no desire to. It's just not that for me that I have to feel like, because that's a bad feeling to feel like I have to be spying on you and checking on you.
Right.
So for me, I just do not. And at the same token, I don't want nobody looking at my stuff. And it's not that I'm doing anything; it's just that it's my stuff. Right. So that's where it's, I don't have to be doing a thing. It's just that I don't like people plundering through or feeling violated going through my personal property unless I've given you permission.
Right.
Now, it's one thing, like you said, you leave it out there and say, okay, fine, hey, go ahead. That's one thing. I give you my phone and say, here, take it. Go take a look. It's another thing for me to leave it sitting there and you go in there without my permission. Because now that's another trust issue, too. Wait a minute. I can't trust my phone around you because you're going to go. I mean, it's crazy. It really is.
Yes.
And once trust is broken, it is difficult to recoup. It is. And I'm not saying it's impossible, but it can be difficult to recoup because trust is earned, and it takes a long time to earn it and a very little time to wipe it out.
That's right. So besides for trust, what are other things that can ruin a relationship where there's no turning back? Because I've seen people, my friend, she got married to someone, she divorced him, she married someone else, she divorced him, and then she remarried the person that she was married to the first time. So it's kind of like, my thing is, if I'm still going to have feelings for you, and you're over across town somewhere having feelings for me, and I can't move on, I can't do anything else because I love you, why can't we work it out? Because I don't want to be going through something about somebody that I'm not even with. You understand? Like,
I understand what you're saying, but it does happen. I've heard cases of people that were divorced 20 years and married other people and ultimately found their way back to each other. It does happen. Now, I will say this because one of the questions Ericka did ask me the last time we were on was this whole notion of being able to move on.
Right.
And I will say this for anybody. I don't advocate divorce for anybody. I really don't. It is painful. It is time consuming. It is financially consuming. I do not advocate, but at the same time, I don't advocate anybody getting killed either.
Right.
In terms of being miserable, life is too short to be miserable.
Absolutely.
Life is too short for one of us to wind up in jail and the other one to wind up dead, or both winding up dead. Mm-hmm. So I don't advocate that either. But it is not something I would tell anybody to do. But at the same time, if you just can't get along. And sometimes what happens in the situation you just described, you didn't realize just how much you loved each other until you did separate.
Right.
Until you did part. And even when you've gone with somebody else, it's still like, it just is not like it was with that person.
Yes.
And you don't realize that sometimes until you've parted. Mm-hmm. So it does happen. But but at some point you have to move on. One way or the other. You can't stay stuck. And I was having this conversation the other day too. There are people that are in a time warp. There are people who are stuck 10, 15 years ago, and in their mind, they're still there. Right. This is 2017, and they're still in 2000.
Right.
And they're going over those same hurts over and over again. They're rehashing that same script in their mind over and over again, and they don't move. So at some point, you've got to get beyond. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but you got to get beyond whatever it was. Now, to your other question just now about what can damage a relationship, I think it's once someone gets hurt. And it doesn't have to be just females. It could be male or female. Right. Once someone is hurt, it's very hard to get beyond that hurt. Now, if you want to look physically, it's kind of like if you have a scar and you just keep picking at that scar. That's what happens when you don't move on. You just keep pulling the scab back off. And then you wonder why it's bleeding. Well, how come this won't heal? How come this keep bleeding? You keep pulling it off.
Yes, and I think as we were saying earlier too, when you do move on, a lot of there's a funny part I think in the movie Deliver Us from Eva when the hairdresser, she's a comedian, I can't think of her name, but she said, the best way to get over somebody is to get up under somebody else. And I mean, that is another accident waiting to happen.
It is, especially when you check feelings for the same person, the other person.
Yes, because then you have, and then if it's two people coming out of a relationship and you're both people, one person may be bound to go back to the other person while the other person is catching feelings for the new person, and it just becomes so messy. So I think we were talking about for single people. I think we should understand too that there is a possibility of abstinence and celibacy and masturbation. Hey.
If you can get, because I mean, and again, I am no prude, and I have no issues with not being a prude. But if you can, it is a mindset. It really is a mindset. And if you can get to that mindset, because we were talking earlier again while you were, you had to step out.
Right.
We were talking about Russell Wilson and Sierra.
Yes.
They made a conscious decision once they got engaged or once they started dating, for that matter, they were not going to have sex. Now, here you had somebody that's a famous quarterback. Sierra's, what is she, a singer? Famous singer. And they came out to the world and said, we are not going to have sex before marriage. And they didn't, to our knowledge. Right. But it's a mindset, it's a determination, and you just have to put it in your mind. And if you can, because for some people, for whatever reason, they feel like they can't. But if you can, I think it does something for your body and mind that people don't believe.
It makes you very strong in terms of control. See, all of this whole show we can really talk about is about control.
Right.
Self-control.
Right.
Do you have control over your emotions? Do you have control over your physical urges? Do you have control over your mind? Honestly, people are doing impulsive things because of the lack of control and the habit of always doing whatever comes to your mind.
Yep.
And I think, I'm no prude at all either. And I love to have a good time and I love to be in a relationship. Right. But when I'm not in a relationship is the time where I get strong mentally, physically. It's kind of like purging your, like cleaning yourself, meditating. It's like it is fasting.
It's like
because
fast.
Even with the playing with myself, sometimes it's kind of like, we have a caller. Okay. I thought. We do have a caller. Okay, 1 second.
All right, we have callers.
Caller, you're on the air. Good. How are you? Okay.
Yes, it does.
Yes. 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 Well, okay, that's a good point. So, do you feel that if you've never been, because it goes along with discipline. Discipline
Right.
is the same as control, right? Because if you have discipline, if you've been taught discipline, then you know that there's a time and a place for everything, right? And you can't just do whatever you want to do at any given time because there are consequences. So, do you think that someone who has never been brought up to understand that there are consequences, that they'll never be able to attain self-control? I think you should turn this. Okay. Right. Yes, but
No.
Mhm.
Oh, it's taught, but the question is it learned? Because I will
Yeah.
tell you again, I say this on the air all the time, even on my own show, and my listeners, I know they've heard it, as well as when I'm working with the children. One of the things my mother told me very early on was think for yourself. And, I mean, they literally, beat that into me. And they signed my yearbook. They signed my high school yearbook with saying, remember what me and your father always told you, think for yourself. The question becomes, do you now learn that and take that and do that? And Ericka brought up a very good point a couple of minutes ago in terms of our impulsivity. And that's where it goes back to where we started the show with why people tend to gravitate towards the rudeness, to gravitate toward what we're seeing from the White House, to gravitate toward, the bad boy, bad girl figures. If you have your self-control, you won't gravitate toward that. You can think for yourself, you won't gravitate toward that. But we are in a society where everything is microwave. I do what I want, what feels good, when I want to do it. There's no
accountability for your actions. I
right.
mean, even you're saying we're taught discipline, but really, I don't think we're taught discipline only in the criminal justice system. In other words, you can get away with so much until it's so far gone that now there's no coming back from it. Because Aaron Hernandez continued to do things. He was fighting in college. He was fighting even when he got on the team.
Right.
There was no way to control him until he eventually took someone's life, ended up in prison, and now there's no turning back.
Right.
It's kind of like you get away with so much in life that you're never going to say to yourself, okay, let me stop here because the next step I take is going to take me over the edge. You know what I mean? But
it is, and it's all connected. Like Ericka just said, it is a matter of self-control, and that's everything with your money, your finances, with your body, with your emotions. All of it is about, can you control you and not let others control you? Even what we were talking about, if you make it big, can you control yourself or do your friends control you?
Right. But I want to hear I want to hear what you're saying in terms of a young age. So if you're taught self-control and discipline at a young age, you think that it stays. But if you aren't taught that, do you think that it can be learned? Like Mr. Medley said. Mr. Medley. Mark.
There you go.
But you think it's from you watching someone else or going through? Does everybody have to learn the hard way?
Right.
Do you have to learn the hard way? Hello?
See, you need some discipline there. Not to curse her out.
Right. Okay. Okay. So wait. Before you get back to driving, I just want to know: do you feel that people who have not grown up, because coming from our line of work, we've seen a lot of kids not be disciplined their whole life.
Right, and that's
I want to know,
right,
can they really get a hold on it in an older? I mean, you're in that age group. Do you think that is a hope for them to get it together in terms of not always blaming somebody else for their problems,
right,
making excuses for their choices and the things that they're doing? Do you think that people are able to learn self-control and self-discipline? Yes or no?
Did she go?
Okay, I guess
I know she said she had to go. Well, I mean, all right, let's go. If we talk biblically,
right?
Biblically, it says, train up a child in the way that he or she would go, and when they are old. So that means even if they had the training in the beginning, and they strayed away from it, which most of us do.
Right.
We're trained from like 5, 6, 7 years old, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in our teen
we want to
years,
have our
we
little
do our
freedom.
own thing, and then eventually we come back. You know what? Mom and Dad was right.
Right.
Mom was right.
But we had to learn. We had to bump our head a couple of times for that.
But Ericka's question is, if the training was never there.
Right. That's what I'm concerned about.
And I am, and I'll tell you why. I have a theory. You ready to jump in? Is that why you're
I'm just going to jump in real quick. I'm just going to say something real quick. And my mother always said, and it's the old Jamaican saying.
Oh.
It's the old Jamaican saying. It said, straighten out, I think, bend the child before they
Yeah, it's kind of like,
right.
Don't wait until after they...
Because you can't bend it. You can't bend it.
Right. Bend the child young before they get old, because when you try to bend them at an older age, that's when you...
You're here.
Right.
That's when you're going to have problems. So therefore, it's an old Jamaican saying. It's always make sure you bend you before they get older. So therefore, you don't have that problem.
That's true, because you're right. And
that's the problem. That's
That's
a big problem with our people that think that, if it's not a parent, they can't. We're supposed to respect our elders.
That was a change, because in the 50s and the 60s, it was not like that. Anybody on the block could chastise you, and then if they told your parents, they got you again.
Right.
So you got it twice. So now that was a shift, and that's where my theory comes in. Are we ready to go to break?
We have 2 minutes.
No.
You got a little bit? Okay. So this is my theory. I'll tell it real quick. This is what I think happened in the United States. I think a whole bunch of folks during the 40s, 50s, 60s migrated from the South to the North. At that time when they were in the South, in the North Carolinas, South Carolinas, Georgias, Alabamas, Mississippis, their parents did discipline them.
Okay.
And I think when they got to the North, they said, I'm not going to do it to my kids what my parents did to me.
We'll be back.
I'll finish up when we come back.
Yeah.